Have you ever wondered why some players climb incredibly fast while others seem to be hard stuck forever? Well, there's a very good reason for that, because there's one key difference between the two types of players. And it all comes down to this simple formula right here, one you've probably never used until now. I've coached thousands of League players over the past few years, and most of them just miss one key piece which prevents them from climbing, even when they play a ton. In this video, I'm gonna break down the full formula and show you exactly how to start using it to speed up your climb. This is it. Let me break that down. R is repetition. It's the number of games that you play. I is intention, how focused and purposeful your decisions are. This is literally the opposite of autopiloting, which is what 99% of players do. And I'll show you how to start creating intention and stop autopiloting later in this video. And then you also have R, and R is revision. It's simply reviewing and learning from your games. Put it all together and you got LP. Everyone loves LP. It's the sweet, sweet LP. You know the feeling of it. That's why we're here. So here's the proof. If you're not climbing, it comes down to one of two things. You're either not playing enough or you're not learning enough. And we're going to start with the easy one. So if you're not playing enough, if you're not getting enough repetitions in, the fix is really simple. What we recommend in the MLA is to aim for 14 good quality ranked games a week. That's plenty for consistent growth, as long as you're focused. But for most players, repetitions isn't the issue. The real problem, they're not learning enough, and that comes down to intention and revision. So let's start with revision, because it's the easiest to fix and the most overlooked. Most players skip reviews, and I understand that because I did that too when I first started out in League. In fact, for the first 8 years of my League journey, I didn't review a single game. And guess what? I was hard stuck for 5 of those 8 years as well. Why? Because it felt like an absolute chore. I hated doing it. And not only that, I also didn't know what to look for. But once I learned how to review properly and actually enjoyed it, I climbed really, really fast. Here's what most people get wrong. They think reviewing has to be slow, boring, overwhelming, but it doesn't. Reviewing should feel exciting, because that's where the biggest learnings happen. If you don't know where to start or it feels like a chore, here's a simple method to start reviewing. What you can do is you can set a 3-minute timer. So don't go any longer than 3 minutes, because for some people that may feel overwhelming. And I only want you to look at these two things. Look at your first 2 deaths and ask yourself the question, what could I have done to avoid this death? You already learn a ton of that. And purely look at you, not at your teammates, guys. Another thing you can do is you can go to 1 or 2 moments in the game that felt really bad. Use your feeling to drive your review. And you can ask yourself the question, what could I have done to change this outcome? So if you're putting in the games and reviewing them properly, you'll climb. But what if I told you there's a way to climb faster and learn 10 times quicker? There is, and it comes down to intention, the most underrated skill in League of Legends. If you can be intentional with your decisions in game, and not just autopiloting, but proactively thinking, you'll create instant feedback loops. And when you're learning from every single choice you make, improvement literally becomes inevitable. Honestly, this is even more powerful than reviewing. Why? Because you get real-time feedback. You see what works and what doesn't while you're playing. It's OP and hardly anyone uses it. But I get it. Most players autopilot. I did it too for years. It's not because you're lazy or you don't want to climb. It's because you're overwhelmed and you simply don't know what to do in game. So let me break it down for you and make it very simple. What is intention? Intention means actively making a decision and learning from the outcome. You create instant feedback loops, which is so unbelievably OP from your brain. But to do that, you need to actually know what you're trying to do in the game itself. And here's where most players really fall short. They don't understand how their champion wins the game. After thousands of coaching sessions, I see the same 3 problems over and over. Number 1, their champion pool is an absolute mess. They have no champion mastery, they have no clue what their champions do, and therefore they're lost in the game because they don't know how their champion wins the game. Number 2 is they're just playing champs that are just too hard for their elo. If you're in bronze and you're playing Sylas or Yone or LeBlanc or Azir, good luck with climbing, it's almost impossible. And number 3, they actually never studied how their champ actually wins games, so they lack reference points and a clear identity in the game itself. And when you don't know what your champ is going to do, the game feels completely random. You get lost, you get autopilot because you get overwhelmed with all of the options in the game, and improvement is almost impossible. So how do we fix that? Here's your 4-step solution. Number 1, build champion mastery. Start by creating a pool of champions that you can stick to, so you start understanding how the champions win the game. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing at point number 2, is we're going to study what the champion's strengths and weaknesses are. For example, a control mage like Victor. How does a champ like Victor win the game? front-to-back team fights where the enemies are running into him. That is your champion identity. This is going to dictate what you want to be doing throughout the game. Step 3, use your lull states. Lull states are moments in the game where not much fighting is going on and you have time to think about your decisions. You have to tie this back to number 2, because if you remember and you know what your champion's supposed to be doing in the game, you can ask yourself a very specific amount of questions. For example, Victor, what is the next neutral objective? We want front-to-back team fights where the enemies are running into us through choke points. Control mage, controlling choke points. That means that if we can ask ourselves consistently what the next neutral objectives is, be there on time, set up vision, and make it hard for the enemies to enter, we're constantly playing towards our champion's strengths. Now, number 4, make active decisions and ping your teammates what you want them to do. Don't just follow the play, but lead it. Really actively make the decisions yourself, because this is a win-win scenario. If the play works out, you are the reason that you win, specifically because you made the call. And now the best part, if you make the mistake, if you mess up, if your play ints and loses the game, what happens is that you feel shit. Because you feel shit, you will instantly learn from your mistake. You'll be able to go back into the review because you feel like dog shit and you'll never want that feeling to be there again. And you're going to be recognized, okay, what I just did wasn't good. Next time I'm going to try something else. And what we got is we got these instant feedback loops, guys. This is exactly how we improve so fast. Sounds simple, right? It is, but most people never do this. Not because they're bad or lazy, but because no one actually taught them how. Now you know, and if you follow these steps, you'll start seeing the map a lot more clearly. You'll stop reacting and start proactively controlling games. And your climb? It will actually speed up fast. So this formula absolutely works. If you build intention in your gameplay, you will climb guaranteed. Now, mid-game decision making can still sometimes get overwhelming. So if you want to go deeper on how to play with even more intention, check out this video right here.